Greetings, yogis. Namaste. We'll begin this practice seated. You can join me on my knees like this, or you can find a comfortable cross-legged position. Begin to find a wave-like motion side to side. Thinking about finding curves in the spine. Neck circles. Be very mindful here and gentle. You can incorporate the rib cage, reverse direction. Isolate the rib cage, thoracic circles. Reverse direction. Take your time. Shoulder circles. Forward, up, and back. One at a time. Reverse. Arms out to the side, like you are pushing two walls away from you. Watch the walls. Then reverse direction. Find some cat-cow action with the rib cage. Small back bend, maybe look up. Circle the wrists. Bend and flex. Raise your arms up overhead. Palms to heart center. We're going to take a moment to do some breath work and meditation. Coming into a seated position, find a comfortable seated position. I am sitting on a meditation cushion. You could also sit on a block. It's a nice idea to have your hips elevated above your knees. Palms can rest on the thighs. Spine is long. Chin is level. Gently close the eyes or soften the gaze. Connect to your breath. Continue to breathe and focus on the breath. Breathing in and breathing out. Open the eyes. Begin to nod the head yes and no. Being very mindful of the back of the neck. Finding an opening in the throat. Linking breath with movement. Inhale to look up. Exhale to look down. Ear to shoulder. Reaching the hand away. Stretching into the front of the neck here. Release. Roll the chin through center, gently over to the other side. Torso stays stable. Reaching the hand away. Rolling the head back through center. Hold chin to chest. Breathe into the back of the neck, really rounding forward, articulating the curve, and slowly roll up, stacking vertebrae by vertebrae. Carefully looking up, and then look all around like you're trying to see everything in the room. Or like you're trying to draw big circles with your nose, other direction. Again, continue to keep the torso isolated. Cat-cow, seated cat-cow. Round the spine, tuck the chin. Open the heart, look up. Inhale to open, exhale to close. Finding some wrist circles. Bring your hands together in front of you. Inhale to open, wide. Exhale, close. Inhale, open. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Exhale to close. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Hold here. Interlace your fingers, stretching your hands away from your shoulders. Find an opening in the scapula, the trapezius. Reaching the hands up overhead. Find some circles. Torso rotations, other direction. And release your hands down to the side. Find a few more wrist circles. Shake it out. Switch the cross of your legs. Side to side with the torso. We're going to do a lot of torso circles today and rotation, slow rotations. It's healthy to move the spine in directions that we don't typically do in our day-to-day life. Improve the joint mobility, range of motion. Get into those little nooks and crevices that don't usually get our attention. So take your time. There's no rush here. Arms out to the side, up overhead, palms together, bring them down at heart center. Stretching your arm across the body, pull it towards you. Try to keep your shoulder out of your ear, stretching into the top of the shoulder, the deltoid. Maybe you tilt your neck to the side. Other arm. Try to avoid putting too much pressure on the elbow joint. Tricep stretch. Try to keep the core engaged here. Avoid collapsing through the low back. Maybe you find some torso, rib cage rotation. Switch side. Tricep stretch, other side. Optional torso rotation. And release. Bring the arm across the body. Continue to wrap the arms into eagle arms. Option to nest the eagle. Inhale to look up, gentle back bend. Raise the elbows. Exhale, crunch forward, elbows towards your belly button. Maybe you rock side to side. Really just exploring the range of motion in your spine. All of this is optional. Reaching up, release. Find some large arm circles backwards. Grasp your hands behind you. Maybe you open up through the chest by extending your arms. Look up. Always be very mindful of the back of the neck, especially. Other side, eagle arms, Garudasana. Nest the eagle if you like. Inhale to arch the back and look up. Exhale, crunch forward. Go at your own pace. Maybe you find some side-to-side action. Arms out to the side. Large arm circles, this time going forward. Reach your hands forward, curving the spine, chin to chest. Shake it out. Cow face arms, Gomukhasana. Tricep stretch, except you reach around and grab hands behind your back if you can. You can also use a strap here. For some reason I can do it on my left arm, but not my right. Switch sides. Option to find some torso circles. Try to reset. Still can't quite reach on this side. You can also just grab onto your shirt. Interlace your fingers, stretch them away from you, straighten your arms, chin to chest. Reaching the hands up, overhead, just long spine, and release. Coming into a side body stretch, palm to floor. Press the ground away from you as you rainbow your torso up and over. Avoid collapsing forward. Release the shoulder out of the ear. Continue to press the ground away. Spread the fingers wide. Switch sides. Check in with your palm. Make sure you're spreading the fingers apart from each other. Plant the hand. Press the ground away. Rainbow up and over. Maybe your gaze goes up. Relax the shoulder. Try to keep the neck in line with the spine. Reach the arms around behind you. Interlace the fingers, find an opening in the chest. Maybe you look up. Bring your interlaced fingers to your waist. Look over your shoulder towards your elbow. Option to look around the room here. Switch sides. And release. Some more torso circles. Support this from the core. Keep the abdominals engaged. And release. Extend your legs in front of you. Keep your knees bent. Keep your heels on the floor. Flex your toes towards you. Reach your arms up and then grab opposite hand to foot. Use the leverage of your hand against your foot to pull, finding an opening in the back of the shoulder blade. And switch sides. Reach up and then opposite hand to foot. Pull like you're trying to pull your foot towards you, but resist so you get an opening in the back of the shoulder. Option to lower chin to chest. This is one of my favorites for the back body, upper back body. And gently release. Crack your toes. Stretch your legs out in front of you, shake it out. Move the cushion, if you had one, off to the side. I'm using blocks in this practice. Blocks are always optional. I'm showing some modifications with blocks, but you certainly don't need them. Coming into a chest pectoral stretch here. I'm extending my arm out behind me and then rolling onto my side. I like having the block here under my temple so that my neck is supported. Breathe. Deep breaths. You should feel this in your chest. Switch sides. Extend your arm behind you, lowering down onto the hip. Release the head to the block. Deep breaths. And release. We're going to come into a child's pose. I'm wearing my loose pajama pants here. Wide-legged child's pose. Toes, big toes come together. Knees spread wide. Come in very slowly and gently. Maybe you lower forehead onto a block. We're usually looking for an opening in the heart, melting it towards the floor, an opening in the armpits. I'm extending the block out above my head here and trying to turn my triceps towards the floor by pressing into the sides of the block. This is optional. Just get a little bit more of an opening in the armpits, and a release in the shoulder, a rotation in the shoulder outward. But you could also just have your hands released, palms down. You could bring them into a prayer mudra, interlacing them behind the back of your neck. Coming into tabletop, we will find some torso circles. Check in with your hands, spread your fingers wide apart from each other, wrists under shoulders, big hip circles, neck circles, rib cage. Let it feel good. Move intuitively here. Press the tops of the feet and shins into the earth. Press the ground away from you. Coming into supported side plank. I'm using a block here under my hand. It's totally optional. Coming onto your side with hand on hip, maybe reach the arm up towards the ceiling. Supported half moon. If you lift the leg, lower the leg, reach the arm up and over, reach hand away from foot. Find some big circles with the arm. Continue to press the ground away with that supporting hand. Don't allow yourself to collapse into it. Again, reaching the arm out. Crunching knee to elbow. Reaching out. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, reach. Exhale, crunch. Reaching one more time. Big stretch. And switch sides. It's one of my favorite side body sequences lately. Coming into supported side plank, other side, hand on hip. Neck is in line with the spine. Try not to allow it to collapse. Reaching the arm overhead, supported half moon. Reaching hand and foot away from each other. Neck in line with the spine. Let's find those big arm circles. Coming forward. Inhale to open. Your gaze follows the hand. Reaching hand and foot away from each other. Crunch. Exhale. Inhale. Reach. Exhale. Crunch. One more time. Extend and crunch. And stretch. Big stretch. And release. Very nice. Coming into a seated forward fold. Extend the legs out in front of you. Root the sit bones into the earth. Reach the arms up overhead. Nice long spine. Come forward with a flat back. We're going to take our time coming into this pose. There's no rush. We'll be here for several breaths. Focus on the breath. With every exhale, fold a little deeper. I have a block behind my feet, which is again an optional modification. It helps me to keep my feet flexed towards me. Last thing to release will be the neck. Inhale to come out of it. Transitioning onto the knees, we will begin to get into the lower body now. We're going to do some of my favorite hip stretches, beginning with a low lunge. I'm using my hand to support me against the wall. Everything's at more or less a 90-degree angle. I have padding and carpet underneath me. So if you want to add a blanket under your knee, if you have sensitive knees, or fold your mat over, that is an option. Again, finding some hip circles. Just some subtle movement. Switch sides. Right knee forward. I'm going to use my foam roller for a little bit of support to keep my spine nice and tall. And again, circular movement. I think that is the only time I use this foam roller in the entire video. Now it's crooked. Coming forward, hands on blocks, starting to open up the hip flexors a little more. Option to find some circles. Maybe you straighten the front leg on an exhale, around the spine. Inhale, come forward. Arch the spine, back bend, look up. Exhale, press everything back. Inhale, release. Switch sides. I have my blocks up on the tallest setting. Exhale, straighten. Inhale, come forward, open. Move at your own pace. Switch sides again. This time I'm stacking the blocks on top of each other. Curl the back foot under, lift the knee off the mat. Rock forward and back, and then find some circles. Press the ground away from you with your hands. Stepping back through plank, switch sides. Curl the back toe under, lift the knee off the mat, straighten that back leg. Rock forward and back, and then find some circles. Reverse direction. Coming back through plank, switch sides again. I'm going to go a little deeper this time. Oh good, I straightened it. Beginning to twist, pressing the mat away with that supporting hand. Beginning to look over your shoulder. Hand to your knee. Try as much as you can to keep your pelvis facing forward. Maybe you make some nice big arm circles. Use the leverage of the hand against the knee to press and find an opening. Option to use a block for some support. Option to curl the back toe under, raise that leg, raise that knee off the ground. And switch sides. Bring your right foot forward, plant the left hand, press the mat away. Finding a twist. Option to come up onto a block to support lengthening in the spine. Try to encourage the twist to start in the low back, sacral lumbar region. Option to lift the back knee up off the mat, coming into easy twist. Reaching that top hand for the ceiling. And lower. Extend your front leg straight. Flex the toes towards you. Option to have your back toes curled under, or you could plant that foot on the floor. Coming back into kneeling position. We'll switch sides again. We're going to take a moment to stretch out our toes. If this is too intense for you, you can use the blocks for support so that you're not using the full pressure of your body weight. Breathe into any areas of tightness. Make sure that the pinky toes are curled under as well. Bringing the left knee forward. We're going to go a little bit deeper this time. We're going to actually reach around, and if you can, draw your foot towards your hand. If you can't quite reach, You can use a strap here or some kind of a scarf or like a necktie. This really opens up the front of the hips and the quadriceps, the shoulder. Option to do some neck circles, like you're trying to see everywhere in the room, or drawing circles with your nose. Switching sides. Bring the right knee forward. It's okay to allow that front ankle to roll out a little bit if it feels okay for you. It's going to allow you to twist around further. If and when you're ready, you can think about reaching around behind you, reaching for that back foot, and then foot meets hand. Finding an openness in the collarbones and the chest and the heart. Maybe you do some neck rotations. In reverse direction. Gently release if you were holding onto your foot. And then we'll transition into a wide-legged straddle. I'm going to use my bolster here. You can use anything, really. Couch cushion, blankets, blocks, or nothing at all. Find some torso circles. Other direction. If it feels good to you, come down onto the forearms. We'll allow this stretch to be passive. Toes and feet can be relaxed. Deep breaths. Any areas of tension in particular, try to send the breath to that space. Really try to find mindfulness of the inhales and exhales. Gently coming out of the posture. Shake it out. We're going to start to get into the hips, finding a cobbler's pose. You can set up some props if you like, if you want something to sort of rest on. Don't do it this way because they will fall over. Need to do them sideways. There we go. Didn't really care for this too much, so I end up getting rid of it in a second. But we'll be here for about 10 to 20 breath cycles, so find a position that feels comfortable to you, where you're getting into the hips and the low back and the spine. There you go. You can stack blocks to support the forehead. Again, allowing it to be passive. Release the hands. Release the jaw. Slowly coming up, stacking vertebrae by vertebrae. Janu Shashasana, head to knee pose. I really like to take my time with this one. Starting out with hands on blocks. Helps me get the length in the spine that we want. Nice long spine, flat back. There's no rush here. Allow gravity to soften the muscles. I like to reach my hand towards the outside edge of my foot so that I know I'm coming straight down onto my thigh bone. This really gets into the low back and side body. Over time, your muscles will soften. Slowly coming out of it. Prepare to switch sides. Again, using the blocks to support a flat back and a straight spine. If you use blocks, try not to clench them. Try to gently press your hands into the surface evenly. Coming down here onto my forearms. Again, take your time. Allow gravity to soften the muscles. And gently, breath by breath, you open up a little more. There's a little bit of twisting action happening here. Even though it's head to knee pose, I think about trying to get my chin towards my toe or heart to toe. Moving with the breath in a wave-like motion, exhaling to come forward, inhaling to find length, until you finally settle. Gently coming out of the pose. Continuing to open up the hips. We'll practice pigeon. I am going to use a bolster to support myself with my hands and to lower my torso onto. I'm also going to use a block under my thigh. We're doing some hip circles first. Up on the knees. A lot of circular motion today. So we're going to come into tabletop first, extend the right leg long, and then draw big circles with your knee. Really, really, really big circles, trying to get into all of the hip socket, ball and joint. And then bring it forward. Right ankle to left wrist, scooch back into it. I like to use a block under my thigh Take your time, we'll be here for a while. Maybe that back foot, the top of it finds the floor and the shin. There you go. I think it's a good idea to come up high first. Find nice, tall, lengthen the spine, maybe a little back bend before you fold forward. Breathe here. Enjoy the release in the hip. Send your breath into this space. If you need to make any adjustments, returning the awareness to the breath. Gently walk the hands back up if you had released the head to the floor. And we'll prepare to switch sides. We'll find a downward facing dog this time. This is optional. You could do this from tabletop like we did before. This is our one and only down dog in the class. Reaching the leg for a three-legged dog. I call these three-legged dog marches. Finding those hip circles. Drawing big, big circles with the knee. Trying to make it really dramatic. And then coming into pigeon on the other side. Take your time to set it up. We'll be here for a while. If you like, gently lowering maybe to the forearms. Option to circle the rib cage. Option to lower the forehead to the mat or a prop. Wherever there's tension, send the breath, allowing it to drain out. We'll be here for a few more breaths if you want to make any adjustments. And release. Returning to a seated position, cross-legged, inhale, reach the hands up, palms to heart center. Excuse me. We'll find some twisting action before we end our practice. So reaching the hands up and then turning to the side, open the arms. Follow your hand with your gaze, if possible. Inhale to reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, turn and twist, looking behind you. Really try to allow this to come from the core, keeping those abdominals nice and engaged. Think of it as almost a crunch every time you turn. Really reaching those hands away from each other. We're doing 5 on each side. Just a couple more. And relax. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, turn and twist. Bring your hand towards your opposite knee. I'm using a block to catch my back hand. Inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head. Exhale, turn and twist from the low body to the mid body to the upper body and neck and gaze. Switching sides. Inhale, reaching the arms up overhead. Exhale, turn and twist. Opposite hand to knee. The hand behind you either finds the floor or a block. Twisting from the low belly and back first. Every exhale, you twist a little deeper. Again, keeping the abdominals engaged to support the spine, and return through center. Breathe. Shake out the legs. One more twist. Okay, bend your right knee. Sole of the foot finds the floor. Inhale, reaching the arms up overhead. Exhale, turn and twist. Elbow finds opposite knee. Option to find a mudra with the fingers. Back hand finds the floor. Use the leverage of the elbow against the knee to deepen your twist. Strengthen the shoulders. Relax the shoulders. Gaze turns to look behind you. Gently release. Prepare to switch sides. Inhale, reach that arm up overhead. Exhale, twist elbow to knee. Take a moment to set it up before you try to go deep. And release. Move your blocks to the side, but keep them handy. Coming into a reclined spinal twist, draw your right knee into your chest, maybe find some ankle rotation. Laying flat on your back, left leg is extended long. Turn and draw your right knee over across the body. I have a bolster set up to catch my leg to support the twist. Prioritize keeping both shoulders on the floor. Evenly press into them. Maybe your gaze goes over your right shoulder. And we'll switch sides. Drawing that left knee into the chest, maybe some ankle rotation, and then draw it across the body. Nice reclined spinal twist. Extend that left arm out to the side. Maybe you turn to look over your left shoulder. Allow it to feel good. Returning through center. We're going to find a supported bridge. So grab your block, press the soles of the feet into the floor, lift your hips off the mat, place the block right under your sacrum. This should feel really nice to have that support there. Finding an opening in the pelvis, a release in the low back, and then lower the block to a lower setting. Rest the sacrum on that, feel the difference, and then remove the block completely. Draw the knees into the chest, make yourself really small, rock and roll. Find some knee circles, really massaging that low back into the ground. Reverse direction. We're going to set up for Shavasana. So we have made it to the end of our practice. I'm going to use a bolster under my back to find an opening in the heart center. And I'm going to bring the soles of my feet together for a reclined butterfly or reclined cobblers. But set your Shavasana up however you like. We'll be here for about 3 minutes. Try to find a position that is nourishing to you, that you can really release and let go. I'm taking out my headband, putting it over my eyes. Return the awareness to the breath. find some small movements in the wrists, maybe reaching the arms up overhead. Curl the chin to chest. And in your own time, in your own way, we'll meet in a seated position to seal our practice. I hope that you feel good in your body. I hope that this practice has helped you release and recover your entire body. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead, palms to heart center. The light in me sees and honors the light that is in you. In that spirit, we are one. Namaste. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Namaste. Bye.